And welcome back to another episode of the Double Doing Podcast. My name is Brendan Deek. Thanks so much for tuning in today, everyone. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. You can also rate the podcast and review the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. It would also be greatly appreciated. Really cool episode coming for you today. I have my friend Ariel Helwani coming on for the second time. We're talking Buffalo Bills mostly today. Ariel, it's tonight, baby. How are we feeling?
I'm very excited. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Very excited. A little anxious. Don't love the fact that everyone's picking them to win it all. I would prefer us being the underdogs, the ones who kind of creep up on everyone, the David to the rest of the NFL's Goliath. So it's a little weird to see them as like the cool in vogue pick, but I love the symbolism of them playing in LA where they should have ended the season last year, playing against the Super Bowl champs or the defending champs, Von Miller coming back to LA, all that stuff. And I really believe in Josh and the boys. There's something special there. So I just can't wait for it to get, underway finally.
So we're going to jump into the Bills season. But before we do that, I do want to talk about your interview with Nate Diaz that dropped, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago. Great interview. Recommend checking it out after you, of course, you listen to this. But I want to ask just kind of a generic question about Nate Diaz. Do you think he has a shot on Saturday?
Sure. Yeah. I am not dumb enough to count out Nate Diaz at this point in his career. I'm certainly not dumb enough to count out. I mean, we just saw Leon Edwards shock the world against Kamaru Usman. So crazy things happen in MMA. Nate has nothing to lose. He's playing with the house's money, and everyone's expecting Khamzat to just roll over him and just kill him and ragdoll him and beat him up and submit him and blah, 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 blah. Nate's not that guy. He is not going to roll over for anyone, and he's not going to just let someone steamroll him. So, yeah, crazier things have happened in the sport. I've seen them with my own eyes. I don't feel comfortable with those odds. Those are massive odds, and I think they're somewhat disrespectful towards Nate. Obviously, this isn't the best matchup for him on paper, but again, I'm not going to count that guy out. He has seen it all. He has done it all, and so I definitely think that he, if the circumstances align, could pull another rabbit out of his hat.
Probably my favorite fighter of all time. Ariel, what does the future look like for him? I know you touched on your interview, but if you could just tell the listeners here what you think is the next chapter in his life.
Well, this is the last fight on his UFC contract, so he will fight this one out, and then there'll be like a negotiation period. He has made it clear that he wants to stay. I think if he wins, the UFC is going to throw a boatload of money his way. So we'll see what happens there. But it seems like he wants to test the waters. It seems like he wants to see what's out there. It seems like he wants to, really kind of be free and independent. And obviously there's the Jake Paul fight out there that would make a lot of sense. Jake's fighting Anderson Silva next month. So we'll see what happens with that one. But I just think, and there's a chance he goes out and he fights one fight and comes back to the UFC. But, for right now, one fight left. He fights this fight. If he looks good, he has all the leverage. If he doesn't, then obviously it's interesting times.
Ariel, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills, baby. It's NFL season in about 6 hours or 7 hours from now. The Buffalo Bills will kick off the season in LA against Los Angeles Rams. I know we kind of touched on this at the beginning, but Ariel, what's your confidence level heading into the season for your Buffalo Bills?
Honestly, I'm very confident. I'm extremely confident. I just don't like everyone else being so confident in them.
Did you see the NFL Network? Every single analyst picked them to win.
Yes, yeah. I'm not happy. Some people sent that to me, and of course, it's like the typical tortured fan, right? If we were the defending Super Bowl champs or the Patriots, something like that, everyone's picking us like, oh yeah, of course, we expect that sort of thing. But I think Bills fans feel more comfortable when we are the underdogs and when people are kind of sleeping on us. But if you go through the checklist, so to speak, of everything that you need to win a Super Bowl, dare I say they have everything, right? Like they have the coaching staff, they have the generational quarterback, they improved their defense, they improved their run game. I thought their draft class was great. Their free agency was great. I thought they got better in every facet of the game. Obviously, the punter situation was very, very unfortunate. And I think they ultimately made the right call there. Obviously, losing Brian Daboll is, a loss, and he's an incredible mind. I think Dorsey's going to be great, and I think that obviously he deserves a lot of credit for what's happened over the last few years. I believe in McDermott. They've got the fan base, they've got the home field advantage, and you know what? Another thing is like they've got the heartbreak as well, right? Like they have felt it. They have felt it twice in a row recently, and I just think that they remember those moments. And last year in particular, like I can't imagine. I mean, it felt like it took me a month to get over that. I can't imagine how long it took them to get over it. They've added veterans, winners like Von Miller. Like they've just done a little bit of everything. They haven't really lost anyone significant. Everyone's a little bit better. People are primed for breakout seasons like the Gabriel Davises of the world. I think their wide receiver core is fantastic. Like what more do we want? Like if not now, when?
Okay, so let's dive into this team. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball, Ariel. What is your biggest question mark on the offensive side of the ball for them?
Well, I would say, I mean, the run game wasn't great towards the end of the season. Devin Singletary picked it up a little bit. Singletary, Moss, they were all right. I don't think they were as. I think you need a tremendous running back to win a Super Bowl, or at least to be, very competitive. Obviously, in the '90s, we had the Thurman Thomas era, backup Kenneth Davis. That was a tremendous 1-2 punch. Like I said, draft, they improved that department with Cook. I think that Singletary really showed a lot towards the end, so I still believe in him. So there's that, and lost Jonathan Feliciano, although he wasn't really playing towards the end of the season. I think the offensive line is solid. Josh is better another year, but if I had to pick one thing that I was kind of bummed about, it was honestly like their running game and their running defense, which I thought were two big holes for them, and hopefully they rectified that and addressed that this offseason.
I think the biggest hole they wanted to fill this offseason was finding a running back that can catch the ball in the backfield and be explosive and break tackles. And you saw it, they drafted James Cook pretty high, right? That's what they thought in their minds.
Yeah.
I don't think that might have been the best route for them to go, because if you take a look, my biggest question mark, and I know this is kind of nitpicking because this is one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in the NFL, but if they have some injuries at the offensive line, I think that could be kind of their downfall. And if the Bills don't win the AFC, so they don't make the Super Bowl, I think you can kind of point to maybe potential injuries on the offensive line. Like if you take a look behind some guys like Roger Saffold's backup is Bobby Hart. They got Brian Bates' backup is Greg Van Roten. Like these are guys that are not known. And again, nitpicking, right? You're picking at the depth of the offensive line, but I maybe felt like they could have maybe invested more resources on the backup offensive lineman to make sure that Josh Allen's not running for his life.
No, that's 100% true. Although Josh is a quarterback that loves to run for his life, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Running quarterbacks in the business. So if you had to have one in that scenario, he's a good one to have. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm very curious to see how Cook does. And again, I was really down on Singletary like mid-year, and I thought he ended the year quite strong. So I'm hoping that he can pick that up.
The Double Doink podcast is known to not really be a big Devin Singletary fan. He just doesn't pass the eye test for me. Does that make sense? Like he just doesn't feel like he's got explosive juice. Like, or he doesn't feel like I know he has some big plays, broke some tackles towards the end of the year, but I do somewhat understand their mindset of trying to go fill that running back hole. But they run a ton of I think the Arizona Cardinals are the only team in the NFL that ran more 4 wide receiver sets. So it almost just feels like the running back is be like the 4th or 5th option on every play.
Yeah. Listen, now you're trying to get me like nervous even more that someone's going to get hurt and Josh is going to be attacked and sacked and things. I'm looking for good vibes here. All right. 7 hours away. I'm not looking to nitpick, Brendan.
I just had to get because look, I'm a diehard Philadelphia Eagles guy, but I have a soft spot for the Buffalo Bills, right? Like they're my second team. They're like the hometown team. You're outside of Toronto, right? So when I do look at the roster, like there's not a lot. Like you can basically say that for a lot of teams, though, right? Like if their 2 guards go down, then they're going to be in trouble. Like you can probably say that for 28 of the 32 NFL rosters. To me, it feels like if there was going to be a reason why, that would be it. But I do want to ask about a guy who I'm really pumped to watch this NFL season. That is the name of Gabe Davis. We are big Gabe Davis lovers on the Double Doink podcast. Ariel, do you think he can be that solidified number 2 guy on this offense?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, what a way to end the season. I mean, that game will forever be known as like the 13-second game and the heartbreak, but they win that game. They're building a statue for him. in Orchard Park. So yes, I really think he's coming to his own. I mean, I think the whole wide receiver core is incredible.
Mhm.
I would argue strongly it's the best in the league. Obviously, Diggs is still in the mix. Davis is tremendous. McKenzie is great. I mean, like they're solid. But Davis, like the way he broke through, and it feels like he was kind of being sort of forgotten about at one point in the season, and then it was like, all right, to hell with this. So I'm really looking forward to seeing. I mean, we saw a little bit of it in the preseason as well. Like I feel like he's got the swagger, he's got the confidence now. He's stepped up on the big stage. He has carried the team. He has delivered, and now let's see him do it for an entire, regular season. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm super like he's one of the guys that I'm really, really excited about to see his maturation.
So, Ariel, something about me, I'm a football nerd when it comes to analytic stats. Like, there's so much analytic stats out there nowadays. I feel like you can kind of dig into so many different rabbit holes with NFL players and find stats that you like. And there's a stat I really like. It's not that analytic for, but it's called yards per route run. So it basically means how many yards are you contributing to the team when you're running a route. And I think that's the best way to look at how good wide receivers are. Gabe Davis finished 13th in the entire NFL last year in yards per route run, which is a tremendous stat considering that he was underutilized, in my opinion, in that offense.
I agree, 100%. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I had to get you back in the positive vibes.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I agree with you. He was underutilized, and I understand it's easy to get lost in the shuffle with so many options. But I mean, again, like that game against the Chiefs, tremendous, and then that and in the preseason we've seen a little bit of it as well. So I really think that he has a great connection with Josh. He's got some vets around him that have brought him along. Saw some interviews with him like right after the game, and like I loved his mentality. I loved his mindset as it pertained to the loss and the setback and how they're going to come back. So there's no in my opinion, like there's few more fun stories in sports than the team that had its heart broken and they all kind of come back. They add a few pieces and you see how they rebound, right? Like, are they still lamenting that loss? Are they wounded from that loss? Kind of like in fighting, right? You get knocked out. That was akin to like a knockout, right? They got stunned. A knockout can change you forever and it could scar you and you can never quite rebound. Or it could change you, like George St. Pierre was knocked out once and he came back and turned into the greatest of all time. So that can happen as well. You can learn from your mistakes. You can never put yourself in the same situation, blah, 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 blah. And I'm very hopeful that the Bills have a George St. Pierre like comeback here.
So Josh Allen is the heartbeat of this team. He was absolutely unbelievable in that game against Kansas City Chiefs. I will say there were a few games that were kind of concerning towards kind of the middle to end half of the season. Like that Jacksonville Jaguars game sticks out, of course, but yeah. he looked like he was playing a different sport in the playoffs. And I always say that when it comes to Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, those guys, they're playing a different game. Do you think Josh Allen can kind of take maybe another step up and be like the best player in football?
1,000%. I feel like he has an MVP in him. And I think you could have made that case maybe 2 years ago. But like the leadership that he shows, I mean, to me, like one of my favorite Josh Allen memories of last year came in a loss, second half of the Bucs game, where it seemed like they were dead. It felt like the season was coming to an end. And he was banged up and he was limping. And he was like, I'm not going to let this happen. Now, ultimately, they fell short. But for me, that was the turning point of the season. They could have just rolled over in that game at Tampa, and they fought back. They fought all the way back and lost a close one. And then ever since then, they went on a nice little run. And, what he did against the Patriots was incredible to exercise those demons against New England in the first round. And then obviously what he did against Kansas City was nothing short of amazing. So yeah, like you see that guy and he's like, that's a leader. And you see the way the players talk about him and love him. And there's that one, like NFL Films clip of I think it's Jordan Poyer talking about him and say, like, I love that guy. That's our guy. Like they would do anything for him. And that's who you need as your quarterback. So he just seems like the ultimate teammate. He's an amazing representative for the city, the fan base, for the franchise, for everything. And like he just seems like one of those generational quarterbacks. And you need one of those to take, like Mahomes, one of those guys. Obviously, he's had success. Tom Brady. It's like you need one of those guys in this day and age. You need that stud, as your quarterback. And I really think he is. I really think he's the best player. I think he's the best player in the NFL. I think he's the most dynamic player in the NFL, and I would love for him to get his respect. And I love like he has like one bad game, and everyone's like, he's a bust, he's a bust, and like Mahomes will have one bad game and no one will say that. But for some reason, people had this self-fulfilling prophecy about Josh Allen, and they just can't wait to say, oh, I told you so. Well, guess what? There is no I told you so. He is here. He is established. He has proven himself. Now he just has to take that one next step, which is, get to the Super Bowl, win it all.
And I think this is the best chance for him to do it. And I actually do think it, and no matter how long he's there for, they will be a Super Bowl contender. They will be able to go to the Super Bowl. And they signed him to a contract. I think it was about last year. The contract's looking beautiful right now. Lamar Jackson's about to get paid a lot. Kyler Murray got paid more than him. Like, they locked him in at the perfect time. Like, I thought it was so smart from the Bills front office to do that. So I'm with you. I think he should be the MVP favorite. And I actually think there should be a little bit of a gap too between the second guy, because they have the best chance to win the AFC. And I think the Super Bowl or the MVP of the league will be whoever the quarterback is of the number one seed in the AFC.
Interesting. Yeah. All this stuff like the favorite, new territory for us. And I remember week 1 of last season was a very disappointing showing against Pittsburgh. And so that's why I'm kind of anxious for today's game. Like, I want to see, I felt going into that game and going like that whole preseason, I felt like their heads were a little big, like they were kind of like feeling themselves like, oh, we're America's team, we're destined to win. Finally, it's getting, we lost in the conference championship, it was heartbreak, here we go, this is going to be our year. And you do hear a little bit of that this time, but I feel like there's a little more humility there because they were humbled. Not just in that game, but like in the last game of the season against Kansas City. So I'm really curious to see if they come out with a hunger today or tonight against Los Angeles, or if they come out with like, oh, of course, we're the darlings, the sweethearts, we're going to win. So I think you're going to learn a lot, because that game against Pittsburgh, like that's one of those games at the end of the year, like the Jacksonville game, etc. Like we're Indy game, like it's like, these are games that you should have won. And then it affects your, we could have hosted Kansas City as opposed to playing them at Arrowhead. So can't wait to see, just like to feel them, to see their demeanor, to see how they respond, their swagger, all that stuff.
You pumped to see Von Miller in a Bills uniform?
Oh, it's surreal. Yeah, we just posted a video yesterday of like, did you see this video? It was incredible of him like saying, it was almost like a love letter to Buffalo, and it got me emotional watching it. I mean, again, leader, champion, veteran, 2 Super Bowl rings, defending champ, just did it. What a pickup. What a signing. You need those guys. You need those leaders. You need those champions in your locker room. And it's kind of surreal because like Buffalo was never really a free agent destination, right?
He's from Texas. And yeah. He Buffalo. Like it didn't make any sense, but it's a perfect.
He left LA. He left beautiful LA to come to Western New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, incredibly exciting. And by the way, I've been a Bills fan since 1990, believe it or not. And, I've never been to a Bills home game, and I'm going to go to my first Bills home game on October 9th.
That's what I was going to ask you if you're heading down this year.
Yeah, it's happening. October 9th.
Nice.
It's the Steelers, so a little revenge against the Steelers at home, and I can't wait. That's the day before Canadian Thanksgiving, and I can't wait. Like I get chills just thinking about it. Like I just can't wait to finally, sing with everyone, and dance and take it all in, tailgate, all that stuff. It's going to be great. And I feel like this is the missing ingredient. Like they were waiting for me to go to a game and then they'll win the Super Bowl. And then we could always look back on that moment as the missing ingredient.
That's super exciting, man. Congrats on going down. It's such a good environment there. I've been to 2 Bills games. It's the best. I've been to Philly twice, been to Buffalo twice. Of course, I love Philly. It's got a special place in my heart, but that Buffalo environment, there's something about it. Like there's something about the tailgate in there and the stadium and the fan base. It's one of the best sporting environments that you can go to in any sport. So you're going to have a blast down there. Ariel, thanks so much for doing this. Before we go, it's Super Bowl prediction time, baby. Ariel, I've told you to get your predictions ready and put you on the spot here. Who is winning the Super Bowl? But before that, who is going to represent each conference in the Super Bowl? Ariel, lay it all on the line here.
In my heart, I really do feel like this is our year. I really feel like we have devoted it all. We have suffered. We have felt it all. We have been through the ups and downs. The team is in place. The front office is in place. The coaching staff is in place. The personnel, the players, everything is in place. This is our year. Just one. I just want one. I just want to know, and I think I speak for every Bills fan, young and old. I just want to feel one time what it's like. just as you felt as an Eagles fan a couple of years ago, like just one time. I just want to know what that feels like.
It's the best feeling in the world. I was crying like a baby.
Yeah, I just want to know, like, I just want to sit on my couch once at the end of the season and not feel like depressed and just like sit there and watch the confetti and watch the celebration and watch the interviews and just, buy the merch and all that stuff. I just want one. And so I would love for it to be Buffalo Tampa, and I would love to, shove it down Tommy's throat for all those years. I feel like that would be the most incredible scenario of them all. But honestly, I couldn't care less who makes it from the NFC. Give us anyone. Give us Green Bay. Give us anyone you want. Just give us our Super Bowl one time. I'll never be one of these guys who cares about a back-to-back or anything like that. Dynasty, I don't care. I just want one. I just want to know one time what it feels like. And I feel like this is our best chance since the early 90s.
Ariel, you got me ready to run through a wall here. I'm fired up for you.
Let's go,
man. Oh, baby. Buffalo Bills, LA Rams tonight. Make sure to check out Ariel's interview with Nate Diaz. It was awesome. Ariel, do you have anything else you want to plug in before we go?
No, man. I'm all good. Appreciate you having me. Keep up the great work. Good luck to you in your new chapter, and go Bills. Let's do this.
Of course. If the Bills win the Super Bowl, you got to promise to come back on right when they win.
I'll do I'll appear on every damn show if that happens.
Sounds good, Ariel, man. Have a good night. Enjoy the game.
Thank you.